the movement from customer services, from calling, reading out numbers with like things that we have done with technology to not just customer services, but also just services. Everything is so automated. Yeah, but I don't need to go and buy a Coca-Cola from a kiosk because I have a place where I can just put my card. It will come to me. We don't think about that today. That has actually been dehumanized throughout the years. I think that process will take some time. What is it that we need? I know the connection. I think the connection will be a luxury and not an ask. The connection you will get with people around you, that was because you have a passion about it, and it's a luxury and you pay for it. Because let's be honest, to know where your order is, you don't need that. I would rather spend that relation and interactions with people that I'm close to.
Hello and welcome to Customer Friendship Conversations, the show where we bring you the latest trends, tools, and insights into delivering customer experience as it's meant to be. My name is Ian Favelvik. I'm a CX Excellence Manager at Dixa. It's no secret that we at Dixa are very excited about AI and its potential to improve the CX landscape. That is why today we're exploring how we can be bold when it comes to making decisions in AI transformations. Joining us from Copenhagen is Silje Stougaard, VP of Global Operations at Vivino, the world's largest wine marketplace with reviews straight from the community. I'll let Silje introduce herself.
So my name is Silje Stougaard. I worked in Copenhagen. We have an office here. We have one in San Francisco. We also have one in Hong Kong and several smaller offices around in Europe. I'm VP of Global Operation. It means that I have the responsibility of everything that touches the wine. I normally say that. So from negotiations are done in the wine from one winery, and then we go and pick up the wine. And then you bring it into a warehouse. From the warehouse, you stock it. There you bring it with a carrier to a hub that brings it to the customer. To the customer, we'll have questions to customer services, delivery questions, and things like that. So, and that's also in my area of expertise. Then I have like enabler teams to everything that goes with the operations to make sure that we have automation, we have simplified processes, and really good data to support all the operations that we have. So instead of the customer journey, I have what I used to call the wine journey. That's my responsibility. I have a team of 19 in total, and then we have customer services that are outsourced.
And for, I guess for the sake of introduction to me, I'll do my bit on this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Vivino is an app where you can track, rate, and purchase wine as well, right? A lot of user reviews. When you scan a bottle, it'll pick up on the wine it is, show you a little background into the winery, and then you see user ratings, maybe a little review there as well. And if you like it that much, you can buy cases of it, right? Is that the breakdown of Vivino as in a nutshell?
That's a quick intro to it. So yeah, we started with the scan and rate and review. We became the world's largest wine community. We have 68 million users now. So we have like 12 million active monthly users. We get around 350,000 new users a month. Organic, so there's still room for new users in the app. So we have like over 290 million ratings right now and 100 million reviews. So that started with just the app, and then of course there came e-commerce. When you have such a big user base, it was obvious for us to make e-commerce out of it. So we are in 16 countries with e-commerce, and now expanded to have different commercial strategies. So that's e-commerce. We also have a premium version of the app, and then advertising. So that's instead of just scanning or just e-commerce, now we are in 3 different.
That's wonderful, and I love the way you break it down. It's varied. You have multiple streams. You have growth. To your point, you're one of the Danish unicorns, and it's fantastic to see that growth. In your role, you're working primarily with the wine makers, right? It's a very unique approach, or is there still some customer facing or end user facing interaction there?
So I have the responsibilities of all customer services. So everything that goes to the customers. I also have everything that's transporting the wine. Transporting wine and transporting other projects that are really fragile is difficult. So it demands a lot of care and also a lot of attention. I have all our help center, all our internal systems that our customer services are they are using. It's also in my area. So we have the B2B, and it's also with our merchants. We have, last time that checked, over 800 merchants that are selling through our platform. So they are also customers some way, because
Right.
that is a communication between customers and merchants. And that communication and automating that communication has been a huge project throughout the last year.
It's very unique, right? Because you have a bit of that split in the type of user you're interacting with. It might bring us a little bit to you like with any support leader, you have limited resources. You might have have to decide very quickly or prioritize a merchant versus a user and a type of interaction there. I'm curious, when it comes to decision making, when it comes to having to make a tough choice, are your days filled with having to make choices, and is that something that you expect to come into the role, or is it pretty novel and you're always on your feet?
And the decision making, I think we are in a in an age now in Vivino where we don't need to jump on all decisions, and you don't have to make a lot of decisions all the time, because I expect my management team also to be able to make some of these decisions. And many of our overall strategy is about automation and simplification. Makes it pretty easy to make those decisions. It's everything is data based. We are not a startup anymore. We don't make decisions because we think so. We make decisions because it's valid and it's data driven and it's good for the customers and it's good for Vivino. It sounds, but it don't need to get to me to make a decision about what are we going to prioritize, because it should be obvious based on the test and the data that we have.
I think all of us in the CX industry are adapting our processes and adapting our decision making process with AI, and I think that's been the most disruptive and radical tool that has entered not just this industry but the world in general. And we'll see what the impact looks like. But I compare like an iPhone moment, right? When the iPhone released, it was before and an after. You can even go further back and say the internet too, that release or that became spread before and after moment. I think AI is going to have a similar outlook into our future. Right now, Vivino, is there a focus or a mission to integrate with AI more? And if you have, maybe can you share a little bit into what that looks like?
Yes, I think it's if I see it also like you, it's really disruptive. Back in years ago, when people were talking about we need a digital strategy, like that
Hmm.
was when digital became something that we talked about. And then you said you don't need a digital strategy because digital is just a part of your strategy. So now you don't have like digital people that works only with digital strategies. Now you have people that just works with strategies. I think we will see the same with AI. This is not just we will need somebody who will learn or will teach us how to use AI. We will have that as an integrated part of the way that we are working. I see the most disruptive part of AI in my field, in my role, is in the customer services as I see it right now. Everything that we have built in Vivino are built on algorithms, and that works without a lot of attention on AI right now. But for example, in customer services, the interaction with the customers and which path to follow, I think is important. Do you follow the path of like people saying you want a personalized communication? Are we still saying that? Do we still want a personalized communication because we know it's just a robot?
Right.
Before we said that we didn't want to talk to a chatbot, but now chatbots are actually so common that you actually want to you want to talk with a chatbot. I want to talk with a chatbot more than I want to talk to a real person. I don't want to call anymore. I don't want to have voice customer services. We're turning that off within the next 2 months. We're an app. We interact, and the more interactions we can do with our customers that are more advanced, the better. So like if you contact me with what they call a one-off customer issue or a request or a feature request or something like that, and we only contact each other one time, like the first time resolutions, it's called in customer services, that's actually one of the lowest loyalty touch points, because I should be able to proactively send you, if you're typing in your password wrong or you forgot your password, I should be able to see that in your behavior. I should be able to send you that and say, I see that you have problems with this. Here's the new password. Click on this link or something like that. So the personalized for me is not about you and me talking. It's about being proactive in using the data we have. Use that data smart instead of using that data to just fill up your storage. I think we owe the customers to use the data. Like when you go to Vivino, you buy a wine, and then I scan the next wine and said match for you. But maybe we know that you are like in the heavy wines.
Yeah.
We would recommend, or Vivino would recommend you to try this, just to go a bit out of your comfort zone. So we are telling you something that could maybe benefit you, and you could maybe just experience something new.
You know, Vivino in some way always had an early implementation of AI, right? The fact that
Yeah.
it could scan a bottle and it's scanning through hundreds of thousands of labels to be like, this is in front of you. That blew me away 10 years ago, right? And then as you keep adding wines to your collection, you see a little pie chart of like, what do you like to drink? What are the most common reasons? And then to your point, when that recommendation comes in for something, hey, you like your Riojas? Okay, you should try this specific Douro Valley. Like, and it's just a little bit off, but interesting, and it helps you explore. And I think you're in some way blessed to be in such a exploratory and fun industry, at least for the consumer. Of you're drinking wine when it's a celebration, it's a good time, it's a reason to explore your palate, and I think that you're leaning into that really well with your interaction. And to your point, giving that data back to the customer.
There was one guy that asked me like, why is Vivino successful? And said, we resolve a problem. Like, it's an actual problem. Our founders had a problem in the supermarket looking at wines. I've tried that when I was in my 20s, looking at labels saying like, okay, this price range, this label, oh, it looks too funky or not too funky enough or not funky enough. And then just picking out something or drinking the same as your parents. We actually solve a problem. I think that is one of the main successes of Vivino. But I also like it when you said like for 10 years ago and with the algorithm, we also came from like just nothing.
Yeah.
Back in the days, you took a picture of a label, you put it in your email, you send it to Vivino, and then we had people searching the internet for that wine label to send it back to you in an email saying, this is the wine. And that could take hours. But it's just like try to stick to also your beliefs and saying, this is actually a good idea. How we get there, it's not pretty all the time. Like, it was like a teenager when we grew up and became like more and more sustainable for users. But the way of having that mentality of trying, I think the same with AI. If we turn back to the AI, is like, we just try it. I know that we are so big right now, 68 million users. If we break something, it's a bigger deal. You get. But if you don't try it, you will not succeed, and you will not have that momentum. So I think that mentality needs to go into the company, in all sorts of teams and departments and divisions to
Yeah.
be able to succeed, because otherwise it's just a safe path.
You bring up some very good pieces of advice, and I think if anybody watching this wants to start an app, has a business idea, um, the the main one is Vivino solves a problem, right? Maybe we don't know this, but folks like you and me that were shopping for wine, 15 years ago, and there was you just looking at labels, and it's like, I guess it looks good, and then you go home and it's completely not what you wanted. You had to
Exactly.
know a friend. You had to ask the guy working at the store and hope that they're not trying to just sell you the most expensive bottle. You know, a company 50 years ago, a company that does not see this much change in 10 years. Everything's changing, especially in technology with AI, with all new things coming around, being willing to jump in and take these risks. I guess the bigger question here is, do you see a future where customer support does not go through humans, or is the approach to AI a bit different than we're seeing, and maybe we're not seeing the full picture here?
I think it's a really good question. I think there's a lot of different takes on it, and it's been like we talked about self-driven cars for years and said like in 2020 we will have no like driver license, like we will kill the whole world of people getting driver license, and not kill it,
Yeah,
but like there will be no more. When my daughter, she's 5, when she grows up, she wouldn't need a driver license because it will all be self-driven. And then the years come, and Back to the Future has passed, like the
yeah.
time where they
2015
so
is not here anymore. Yeah,
exactly, like that, you know that.
yeah,
So I think the same with AI. This is a learning curve, and it's a steep learning curve. Like the technology is expanding like this, and our understanding is just it's just
right.
flat. It's a line, right? The movement from customer services, from calling, reading out numbers, with like things that we have done with technology, to not just customer services, but also just services out when you had to you put gas in your car, and you had a person coming out and you said, "Oh, it's going to be everything is so automated." Yeah, but I don't need to go and buy a Coca-Cola from a kiosk because I have a place where I can just tap my card, and then it will come to me.
Yeah,
We don't think about that today. That has actually been dehumanized
right.
throughout the years. I think that process will take some time, but I think that there are no what is it that we need. I know the connection. I think the connection will be a luxury and not an ask. It will be something that you do with like a veteran car. Like
Yeah.
that's like the connection you will get with people around you. That was because you have a passion about it, and it's a luxury, and you pay for it. Because let's be honest, to know where your order is, you don't need that. If to customer services to advise what wine to pair with the food with, our app will tell you because we have all the data. Do you need this interaction? So I would rather spend that relation and interactions with people that I'm close to,
Mhm.
instead of in customer services. I would rather have a rapid, like a really clear answer from AI,
Yeah.
then I can move on and get to buy the wine that I need from my friends. And then I can spend more time with my friends instead of waiting to get an answer. So that interaction, we are just used to having that. And that's the normality now. But the world will change with this, like it has done with all the other things that we just don't think about actually have changed already.
The changes that are most impactful are the ones you don't notice. The fact that I can book a flight on my phone right now and go to Copenhagen, that years ago that was very difficult, and 20 years ago was impossible. So, something like, yeah, what bottle of wine should I have with my steak tonight might become something that I don't have to go to the wine shop to talk to the person and tell them what I'm cooking with. I can just input the recipe in an app and then ship the wine to myself. And I think the level of convenience there, and the approach to AI to make life easier is very interesting. Um, I'm curious, as as a CX leader in some way, do you see AI as a tool to empower the agents, or maybe would the I guess to rephrase the question, is the end goal to give agents AI tools so they can be super agents, or is to use AI to take away work from the agents and make them focus on that personal interaction that you mentioned?
I think it can be both. I don't think it's either or. It's to give them as much information as possible. If you look in customer service 20 years ago, like every time somebody called, you need their phone number, like name, and then you have to look it into the system. Now it's a CTI, pops up everything you have there. That's also some automations that have helped us. So we get a full view of the customer. I think the personal connection with the customer if they need an agent, I think that's what they should focus on. So all of the other requests. So I think it's actually, now that I'm talking myself into it, I think that it's actually the same that you're asking, because what they need to focus on should be the personal relations with the customers. If we have anything that needs to be resolved by an agent, and I'm not saying that we will remove all the agents. I'm just saying this is a process where we sometimes forget that there's a technology evolution right now, and that we're maybe not capable of seeing what this can actually end, like what are the end goal of this and the solutions at the end of the finish line. And we're working in Vivino, we're working like 6 months ahead, saying like, okay, what do we want 6 months ahead, and then a year, 2 years ahead, but everything needs to be a stepping stone. So right now it is to empower the agents, remove some of these loyalty creating requests that we get, like move all the noise, give the agents the power to view you when you contact us, instead of start to like the customers that something like yes or no, like is this, and tone of voice and everything. There's so much help in this that can be built in, but it's not like it's not done tomorrow. And I think that's one of the things that we need to take into consideration, that it came so fast, AI, in the public opinion, like to be public, and then it's like, but we need also time to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And it's not a quick fix. It's not just like, let's implement AI and then we will reduce headcounts and we will make everything automate, like everything is automated. You know, those buzzwords when you are, when we're talking about strategy and budget and everything. It's like, yeah, but it all comes also with some prep. It takes time and it needs to be done. You can't build a house on a shaky foundation. So if the foundation is not correct, the AI would not have the same effect as you would wish.
So I'm curious, right? The answer might be obvious to you, but can AI fix bad customer service?
Bad customer service is normally done because of bad processes, but AI cannot fix that. So you need to fix your basics first. AI can tell you where you have some issues with some processes, but that's when you have implemented. And if you're so long in your implementation of AI that you have AI to tell you about your processes, then I think you shouldn't be having bad customer services or bad processes. Yeah.
When looking at the issues that maybe come in, or the service you provide to your customers on both ends, right? Do you draw a line of like, I do not want AI to step in here. This is a human only space, or at the moment is it you're testing, you're trying, everything is new?
If the customer wants to talk to an agent, the customer should be talking to an agent. Otherwise, I don't see any processes where we can't use AI either as a help or just to try to automate it as much as possible. We have a deflection rate on 66%. So the 66% is of everything that goes to our trying to contact us is deflected by our chatbot. You can't contact us any other way than through the chatbot, because then we get the most information. Can't contact us by email. You need to go through a flow that creates the right information, both for your sake, but also for the agents, to make sure that we have streamlined it and simplified it. And that makes it so much easier for the customers and also for the agents.
That's what I tell my customers all the time is when you have emails, when you have phones, and people can just reach you without any level of triage, right? It's just you're just opening the floodgate and come on in. Um, I can't call Netflix today. I don't think they have a phone number. I can't email Uber and be like, please fix this. They'll send me to a chatbot. They'll send me to another solution. So as you grow, as you disrupt, as you become a leader in the industry, part of that becomes your personal efficiency as an agent and as a support leader, and funneling every request through the same path. And I think that's a place where AI can really shine. And to your point, with solid processes, it can be applied in a very specific way, in a good approach. So I guess looking ahead, looking at the future, if you could sum up, where do you see AI in the world of CX? I know we kind of touched a little bit in multiple answers here, but in a general space, 10 years from now, do you think that every company is going to have some AI chatbot or AI process there for us to talk to?
For those where it makes sense, like you all still have like small companies where you have one receptionist answering customer services and phones and saying hello to customers that walks in. Where it makes sense to put AI, I think you should. But I'm also aware that we have an industry, sometimes in customer services, that still uses IVRs, still have like a lot of legacy of old systems and how we are used to handle customer services, and being in that industry area for like in customer services and customer experience for the last 20 years, I still see some non-movers. So I would hope that this can be that AI can be so easy to implement and so plug and play that that even the smallest companies that actually need it the most sometimes can benefit from it, because there's different layers of benefiting from AI. There's like telling you transactional emails, alerting you of new movement in customer base. It's just responding. It's time, giving you time back, and some of the smallest companies and need that the most. So for me, it all comes down to how plug and play implementing AI in your response, customer response, and customers interactions and transaction communication can be.
Do you think that adoption is, or resistance to adoption is generational, or um, is it maybe a something of there is not enough adoption because people are maybe scared, or I've done this the way I trust it and I don't want to try new things, and it's maybe a fear or a risk factor associated with it?
I think that sometimes I'm in my 40s, and so I grew up with a mobile phone when I was a teenager. But being aware that we also have a generation, and my parents' generation, that grew up without tablets, without phones, without like with cash. Like
Yeah.
my daughter at 5 doesn't know what cash is.
No.
Like
I haven't seen
so
a
it's
coin. I haven't held a
this
coin
isn't
in years.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like that's one money. It's like
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't see I don't see that people will not adopt. I just think that we should have some respect for generations that are not used to having an extension of a mobile phone in your hand. I see companies that I don't think that is, again, it's like when we started implementing chatbots, they were not that good. Like that, the loop of chatbots. So if you implement AI now, and if you ask people now, they say like, yeah, but it can't really do everything that it promised. There's a like sort of drop in the trust in AI, or just believe in what it can do right now, because it came out as poof, as fireworks, can make you coffee, can do anything. And then people started to work and said, okay, maybe we need to be a bit cautious about it. So I think that I think it's a healthy push and pull generation have, and I think it's totally fair. It also keeps us on our tiptoes about, for example, like sharing data and things like that. That the older generation has been much more protected about, and then we have young generations just like click accept on everything, because we're used to sharing data. We're used to our data being used to personalize our shopping experience. So that was, I don't know if I answered your question,
No, you
but
did. You did. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think there's another question there within it of like, do you think it's ethical for an AI chatbot to let the customer know it's AI, or will that generational maybe frustration or internal disrespect or not wanting to talk to a bot, I want to talk to an agent. Um, I guess there's an ethical question there. Do you always tell them it's AI, or do you hide it from them, knowing, trusting that the bot will solve their problem, whether they believe it's a bot or not?
You always tell, like, the transparency of you, and if you don't have trust, also talking about Vivino, like, trust is our like secret source. If you don't trust our reviews, if you don't trust, then we have nothing. So
Hmm.
for me, it's really important that you're transparent. You don't show off as something that you're not. Like, you don't go out and say I'm the king of the world. We're not. If you're not an agent, don't say that you're an agent. If
Right.
you're a chatbot, say it, and then you will have. But if you, I strongly believe that if you make good technology, solid solutions that will resolve people's problem,
Hmm.
that resistance will not be there, because then we're actually resolving a problem. Well, back again to, like, we're resolving a problem. And if you're doing that, that's most of the time what we need. And then maybe somebody will really like to have a conversation and talk and have that relation. That's fine, but I don't think that is our core. The that we contact because we have an issue, we have a problem, we need that to be resolved. If you can resolve that quicker by looking through my data in a split of a second, instead of having somebody reading through all the cases, I would rather have that for a split of seconds than waiting 10 minutes for an agent to read through my cases. And so the better the technology, the better the solution, the more trust.
Have you seen any resistance in Vivino to new technology from your users? I'm guessing it's a very universal product wine, right? Do you have older, younger drinkers? I'm wondering if you ran into any situation where there was resistance to new solution.
Not to new solutions. No, I think you pretty much connect with, it's an app, and it's technology and it's new technology when you download Vivino. Um, it can mean a lot to some wines if you get a good rating or not. That's what we try. We really try to take really serious that we have a big voice now in the community of wine. So we take it seriously. So we don't do anything that really touches that. We can do new technologies and premium and also in US have plus customers.
Yeah.
So we will do that, but I don't think there's a resistance of new technology in a technology
Okay.
app.
To your point, the Vivino experience has always been top of the line and really disruptive and interesting. So I think the approach and thought around it already has welcomed experimentation and old school wine drinkers probably don't have a vino, and then the new school wine drinkers do and enjoy it.
They actually do. So the segment is older, I think, than you think. So, but with 68 million
Yeah.
users, we have a bit of everything.
We have a few minutes left. There's some quick fire questions, which I'm going to fire off to you, and then give me your gut reaction to these.
Okay.
So, how do you provide a personalized customer experience every time?
Through data. The more the data you have and collect everything that you need for your customer agents to be able to resolve the case.
How do you measure the success of your customer friendships?
Return monthly users. If you want to use the app, you come back. If we
Yeah.
are successful in that, you come back. If you think that the right content that we have for you, then you come back. Then you're curious, and then we can fill like with additional data and additional data.
What do you know now that you wish you'd known at the start of your customer service journey?
That nothing is forever. Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing is forever, and let's try it.
that's great. That's great. Well, it's been wonderful to chat. It's been wonderful to get your thoughts on everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Customer Friendship Conversations. If you've enjoyed the show, then make sure you're following us on your podcast platform of choice. It means that you'll get notified each time we release a new episode, so you won't miss out on any of the other amazing customer friendship heroes we'll be showcasing in the coming months. Of course, a rating or review is a huge help to the show, so we always massively appreciate those as well. And if you're interested in learning more about customer friendship, then head to Dixa.com to discover everything you want to know about customer experience as it's meant to be. I'm Ivan Pavelovic, and another big thank you to Silje for joining us today. Take care, y'all.
Co-fruition.